Surfa's stressed out about something.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I can edit this out. It's fine.
Okay. I mean, I can turn the brightness up if it's too dark. It's too bright now.
He's like the sun.
Yeah. Surf.
Okay.
It's just because I'm in the middle, so the other lights you can't see.
You're also like higher up than me. I need to be like here. But it's fine.
Okay. Let's crack on.
In today's episode, I had an absolute pleasure sitting down with an incredibly talented musician and creator, Joshua Wu. Known for his captivating live performances, innovating mixing techniques, and heartfelt original music. Joshua has carved out a unique space for himself in the world of music and streaming. Through his Twitch streams, he's built not just a platform, but a thriving community that connects deeply with his art. His passion for music shines through every performance, and his ability to turn moments into melodies is nothing but short of inspiring. In this interview, we're diving deep into the mind of a true musician. We will explore Josh's journey from his early years and the spark that ignited his love for music, to the challenges he's faced, his creative process, and the impact of his music on his mental health and community.
No one's listening to me. Everyone's just talking about food right now. But let's do this. We're doing the song here, everyone.
So sit back, relax, and join us as we get to know Joshua Wu, a musician whose music not only resonates, but leaves a lasting impression. I've been watching Joshua for the last 6 months, roughly, on stream, on Twitch, and for me, just generally, it's been a very, very therapeutic, beneficial process. And just getting to know you as a person through watching you on Twitch and having that kind of interaction, it's very meaningful and powerful, and I'm sure it is for other people as well. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, well, no, thank you for sharing that with me as well. And thank you for being there as part of the community. I mean, that's part of the reason I do what I do. I mean, I mainly started to help my kind of self mentally, but the hope that it transfers to other people and they get something therapeutic from it as well is what an artist dreams of, really. So thank you very much for sharing that and for being there in the chat along with the journey. It's been great to have you as part of the community for sure.
As an opening question for you, who is Joshua Wu, and what does it mean to be you?
What does it mean to be me? I always think that's up to other people to decide. Really, I mean, I'm a musician, of course, and half the time I honestly don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of making up stuff as I go along, which I think is the case for many artists and creative people. You kind of on a journey searching for things, really, and you don't really know how you end up doing it or even why you're doing it half the time. It's just something happens and you just can't stop. That's kind of the thing with me, ignited at an early age, interested in music and singing mainly, and then playing, and then just henceforth just going along this path that I have no idea how I ended up on this or whatever. And obviously you make decisions along the way, but it's just very an improvised kind of journey. It's a cliche, but all musicians kind of say it like you don't choose music, music chooses you, and it's definitely somewhat true because no, I don't think any sane person would try and decide to make music their their living because there's no good reason to do so from a personal aspect. Um, but yeah, there's very little else I'm suited to. So and I enjoy what I do, and this is my passion and it's an obsession really. So that's kind of um, why I'm here doing what I do. And if it helps other people along the way, that's awesome. But you know, that's basically that. I think that's the best I can answer that kind of question.
No, that's all right.
Mhm.
What I was going to ask next, because you mentioned a kind of music existing within your childhood, so I was just
Mm.
interested to understand like what role did music play in your childhood, and like what things were around you that kind of inspired you to kind of, or like did you have like a musical family, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So as far as I've been told, or as far as I kind of uh, remember, well, my dad does play guitar, first of all, so that helps. He was interested. He never really like pursued music himself, but he was very easy. He still is quite interested in music and playing music. So yeah, my dad played guitar. He played some music around the house as well. I was told from like a as a baby, I would react to Phantom of the Opera of all things, and yeah, oh, who's the person? Sarah Brightman singing something that was something I reacted to as a baby. So there was always music going on around, and then as I say, I kind of rely on what people tell me because you don't remember these things too much. But like, supposedly, I was singing at kind of like the age of 5, and it was just something I was interested in doing. I don't remember a time where I haven't sung. There's been times where I've not. There was a long time where I've not like played music like instruments or written songs. That came in my teenage years, kind of things when I did pick up a guitar. But even in like preteens, I tried to learn the saxophone a bit. I had a bit of trouble with that. I still have a saxophone. I have played it on some very very badly because I don't practice this instrument at all. But I played it on some of my band Plastic Suns stuff. When we were recording that, there's a bit of saxophone on that. I play like 2 notes or something like that. Um, so yeah, I think yeah, I feel like music has been in the family. I mean, I think there is a genetic element to music as well because all of my dad's side of the family they do sing, and on my mum's side of the family, there've been piano players and things like that. I've not met them myself because they're like further down the family tree. But yeah, as far as I know, there's always been music in the family, and there's like there's it's just one of those things that, as I say, it's you just it's amazing like how much you're born with a lot of your personality because even when I've seen footage of me, like, just on the piano as a kid. I didn't know how to play it, but, like, it's obviously something that interested me, like, immediately that I was just like, "Oh, this is cool. Piano, try and play something, from it." So, yeah, it's always been around, in my childhood. There was a period of time where I was like, I think every boy goes through this, but, especially during, the '90s when it was big stuff, but, like, there was a time where I was, like, not interested in music. I was like, "I'm gonna be a footballer," kind of thing, but I think every boy, has that happen at some stage in their life. Uh, but then I only really started taking it seriously at about 14 when I picked up the guitar, and just because it was just really fun. I was like, "Oh, this is cool." I can because saxophone, because I was a singer. Um, like I like to sing mostly. You can't sing and play saxophone at the same time. So to me, that was like, this is good, but like I'm kind of like inhibited because I can't sing and play this at the same time, and I'd rather be singing. So I picked up the guitar around 14. I had a really good guitar teacher, so that was nice. He was very friendly, very chill, and he helped me. And he was like learning stuff that I was interested in learning instead of like forcing stuff upon you. I've kind of taken that into my own because I teach guitar as well now, but I've taken his attitude toward things towards my own as well. But yeah, I had a few years of guitar lessons. There was a kind of a guitar group at my school that you could do after kind of class. It's quite a musical school in general. At the time, it was kind of a performing arts school. That's kind of their what they were going for, kind of thing. So there was a lot of music. There was a lot of group interaction with things like that going on. So yeah, I'd play in this guitar group where just loads of people were learning guitar, got together and played together, which is great for me, like learning to be a musician and whatnot. Because there's no better teacher than going out and playing with other people on your same sort of level. You learn way more than just practicing stuff at home. So stuff like that, I was just involved in all that, all sorts of things like that in the school where I could, I'd be like try and do amateur musical productions and things like that. Just very enthusiastic about the whole thing. From that, I mean, I mean, I've been singing since I was 5, but from about 14, that's when I started getting like, oh, I want to find people to play with. I made a little band that was called Blind Vision. You can still find some of the stuff on YouTube, much to my dismay, but you can still find it there. Um, and I'd play with them for a bit. That's where I started writing songs because you're in a band. I'm the singer. It's the traditional role of the singer to write lyrics and to write songs and things like that. So that's where I started to do so, and I started to see if I could kind of do it. I mean, it's arguable. Arguably, I couldn't when I first started because the first song that I wrote was really quite trite. It was just like I don't need you anymore, and then just rhyming things with more, and then just going on like I said, okay, cool, cool, cool. But you don't care at that sort of stage. It's just kind of fun. You don't really judge yourself being like I suck or anything. You're just kind of like excited to be doing it, and yeah, then you go from there, and yeah, and I've been played in a few different bands here and there, recording things like that, and now I'm. I mean, it was always a dream for me to have like a studio or something that I could have at home, so I could just record stuff when I thought of it. I was a bit. I have been known to be a bit of an overbearing a band leader because like I have I have quite strong ideas of how I want things to sound, and I mean it'd be like, "Hey, just play this, won't you?" And they'll be like, "No, I want to make my own thing," but it's like, "I don't want it to sound like this." So that, and then working with bands is hard in the in this day and age anyway, because like people don't have the time or the dedication to it's very hard to find people that have the same sort of level of drive and all think the same now. Um, I I don't know how people did it back in the day. I guess it was the only thing kind of to do. There's less distractions and things like that. More freedom, I guess, to pursue those kind of things as a group. Um, but yeah, that's where I am now. I'm just doing things by myself, recording uh, in my studio here, streaming as well. Everything's all in this one place, so very handy. Yeah, that's that's about it. I think on that.
What I was going to say was, in terms of now you being on like a solo kind of like journey,
Mm,
as well as because I know recently, we're getting to this later, but in terms of like collaborating with other people on like your
Mm.
own songs, in terms of the solo journey, what's been like the comparison compared to like working in like a band? Like, what are you enjoying it more now, or
Yeah, I think about that a lot actually because it is like there's stuff that the stuff that is a lot is a lot more enjoyable as a solo artist, and there's also stuff that's a lot more frustrating uh, and and a lot more difficult to be a solo artist. It's kind of like a push and pull. So like let's say the great thing is if I have an idea, I can just go ahead and pursue it. I don't have to wait for 3 or 4 other people, to meet in a room to be like, "Hey, I've got this idea, can we work on it?" And then for them just to be like, "I don't like your idea." kind of thing or something like that. Or or whatever. So you can just do that. That's great, and I love that. And r- I can just make the stuff. I can record it, go through the whole process, and it's on me. It's not. I don't have to rely on other people, and I can just release it after it's done as well, which is also kind of great. I like that kind of thing that you can do in this day and age. That you can just kind of release it as it's done, so it's still fresh. You're not sitting around on songs, which I hate the feeling of doing that. It just like it itches in my soul. It's like I need to get this song out there. Like, come on. So I hate that. So that's great that you can just get it out there. You're in control. But the tough thing is that it is all you. So you don't have any immediate kind of feedback. I have some by streaming, which is great, but I don't have that kind of thing if you're in a band or you're working in a studio with a producer or someone that's on the desk anyway, whatever, and you're doing the vocal takes or whatever you're playing, and they can just give you like little pieces of advice to be like, oh, that's really great, but can you try it that way? Like I have to do that. I have to be very self-critical, and it's very tough to keep being self-critical healthy. So like there's a healthy dose of that for sure. There's a healthy dose of being critical, but it can easily become, oh, I suck at everything kind of thing, just because of you don't have that distance between you and the feedback. You're like giving yourself the feedback, and it's like, oh man, I can't do this. I suck if I can't do it like straight away or something like stupid. Uh, but yeah, and there's always this feeling that I think imposter syndrome. Of course, is always a difficult thing to deal with. I think it's difficult, whatever, but it's slightly easier in a band, I guess, like to deal with imposter syndrome because um everyone's going through it. So like it's like a camaraderie thing. So you can just speak your feelings, and then they can be like, "Oh, don't be silly. Like I feel the same sort of thing." And you can watch other people do amazing stuff, and then you can watch people struggle as well with their parts, and then oh yeah, it's just um, it's just part of being human, it's part of being a musician, kind of thing. And also, being in a band can be easier because of the playing live element. So, which always feels more fun than kind of trying to just try out ideas in like a DAW, digital audio workface, whatever the thing I'm recording workstation. Sorry, um, where if you have to play something, you have to play it all, like everything all the way through. So like if you have to play a shaker part, you have to just keep playing that, and it's like, oh god. Um, so that can be, and it can be easier sometimes, more fun anyway in a band sometimes if you've got a really good live band and you've been playing live in general, and then you can just go into the studio and just record yourself playing live, and you pretty much got the whole song. So that's a very advantageous thing of being in a band. Um, But there's also times where that doesn't happen, and there's still times where it's frustrating. So, yeah, it's a bit of give and take. I value freedom most of all, and I value freedom to do what I want to do and to pursue my vision without much interference from outside. I mean, I will take advice, of course. I'm not that arrogant, but I do have strong ideas of what I want half the time. So at the end of the day, it's easier for me to like overall to be a solo artist and just get these ideas down, kind of thing like that, and 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 just go through those frustrating moments. Uh,
I was going to say I don't even think it's like a crazy way of of being. Like I
mm,
think working solo is like very hard. Um, I can relate in the sense because I do this solo.
yeah.
So it's like a lot to be dealing with at once, and
Mm,
I can set my own deadline. I can publish
mm,
when I want. I can edit when I want. It's very nice.
mm,
But in terms of like the whole being self critical,
mm,
that is it's kind of it's a problem because sometimes I design something. I'm like, oh, I think that looks. I don't think that looks very good, and then I'm like, or like recently I've just been staring at fonts for ages,
yeah.
finding the right font, being like, is this good? And then I ask someone, they're like, no, it's shit. I'm like, okay, great, well, let's go back to square one.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
it's really hard though.
Oh, it is dead hard. I totally relate to you just like staring at fonts. It's like
Yeah,
me going through snare sounds or something like, and it's just like you're just scrolling through these sort of sounds, and you're like you just feel like there's got to be one that's better, right? Then you just have to keep going. But which is another point. Like uh, choice, kind of having too many options is kind of like the it's kind of the enemy of creativity in a weird way. It's like I always feel like that's the number one way that I get writer's block. Is just that if like I'm thinking like something's got to be better, like I need to just try every sort of option, kind of thing. Then I'd end up doing nothing. Is basically what happens. So that's a tough thing also to deal with, and I'm sure you go through it as well, where it's just like, with having so many different options available to you, you have to it's trying to stick with your intuition, on things and just being like, "Okay, that sounds good. It sounds fine." Like, or "It looks fine," or whatever, and, just sticking with that. I think that's probably one of the hardest things, to do. Um Luckily, I'm not that bad at that, but I am bad when it comes to doing takes of things, because I always think there's got to be a better take, in me. I mean, I'm in the middle of doing vocal tracks for the new song, at the moment, and that's always the toughest bit for me. It's just trying to get the vocals down, because I always feel like there's got to be a better performance in me somewhere, right? Like I got to try it this way, try it that way. Um, doesn't help that I'm a person on stream who does like lots of different sort of voices. So I have like a lot of different voices in me. So there's a lot of different ways that I sing, and I consider them all part of my singing voice, as opposed to some people who have like one very distinctive kind of sound that they use. Sometimes I struggle to be like, what is the particular sound that I want to use for this song that's going to fit this song. So I can spend ages doing that. It's usually the bit that I spend the longest doing, like you staring at fonts or something
yeah.
like that, for example. Yeah.
My boring life of fonts. Yeah. Um, what I was going to say was like in terms of, well, I just think like that in terms of like kind of getting creative like block.
Mm.
Um, as you said, basically, essentially the possibilities are endless. We could do anything.
Yeah, especially in this day and age, like you
Yeah,
can literally do anything. You can literally find a plugin for everything. Whereas like in like the early days of music recording, there was like two choices of reverb, and that's it. So like
yeah,
you had the reverb machine, or you had none and you just used the bathroom or something like that to get reverb, and that's the only thing you had. So that's the only choice you had, which is why I think in the early days of music, people could release music so quickly. It's just because like they had very little choices of what to do and um, very little options available to them. So it's like the take is the take. That's it. Cool. You're done with the song. They might want to change things, but they can't.
Yeah.
Is the thing. But now you can, and because you have that option there to change something, it's like your brain's like, I must at least try
Yeah.
to fix
This
something
won't
to see
take
if it
long.
sounds better. Yeah, this won't take long.
And it's
6
like
hours
hours.
later. Yeah. Exactly.
I was going to move into, I guess, more mental health side of things.
Hmm.
Um, like, for you, how has being able to create music through the medium of Twitch and publishing and producing your own music, how has that like helped to impact or support your mental health?
Um, Good question. I mean, mental health is just is a constant struggle in general. It's not something like I don't feel like it's something where like you just wake up and then one day it's just like, oh, I have no mental health problems. Yeah, it's always something you have to kind of keep in check, kind of thing. You have bad days, you have good days, and you have to not reflect on the bad days too much, which is very difficult because the brain wants to. It wants to fix problems. So it's like that bad day, what did I do wrong? Kind of thing. So it kind of lingers on that. And the good days, everything's fine. So it just doesn't think about that at all. It's just like, oh, cool, that was all right. And then you forget about them. But like with Twitch in particular, that's been a great help for my confidence, at least. I mean, I still have issues with that, but at least I know I can, like with speaking and stuff like that, and doing things. I've never had a problem playing music in front of people ever, to be honest. Which sounds odd, but I don't think is like at all. I think that's the case for most musicians, maybe most performing artists in general. That's kind of the reason why I think most people get into it in the first place is because, hey, here's something I can do where I can be slightly removed uh, from myself, but still express myself, kind of thing. And it's something I can do that can. Um, make people like you kind of thing without having to be like, hello, how are you? Kind of thing. Which is a lot more difficult, which is kind of hilarious. Like you put hours of practice and it's just like, like that's the least difficult thing to do. But yeah, with Twitch, just being in front of people, although it's not although it's not like a exactly a well, it is, but it's not like a spoken. It's not an audible kind of connection. It's still being in front of people. And people are there, and you're talking to those people in real time whilst you make the music, and it's helped me a lot to be like. I mean, one thing it's helped me a lot is that making mistakes isn't too bad as well. Like you make mistakes and it can be funny, it can be entertaining, kind of thing like that. You can fumble over words, and it's not as bad as you think it is. Whereas if you do on like let's say on a stage or something, it feels really really bad because you don't know what people are thinking of you. So you only have your own thoughts about that in your head. So that kind of connection there between me and the community, it's been a great help because it's just like anything really, isn't it? Like the more you get up and do something regularly, the less daunting it becomes. I won't say it becomes easier because I don't think that's necessarily true. There's still a level of difficulty there. It's not something I'm natural at any means, but you develop a way where it's not as daunting. You can just kind of um, you can kind of do it and just see what comes, and the mistakes aren't too bad, and you learn to deal with things your own kind of way, which for me is a bit chaotic. Kind of thing. I'm a bit odd in the fact that I actually really don't like to feel super prepared going into something like that, which again, which helps, which Twitch is perfect for as a medium. Anyway, I don't like feeling super prepared. I don't know why. I kind of psych myself out if I feel like everything's got to go this particular way, kind of thing that it's meant to be in my head. I know that helps some people.
It's
Uh,
impossible
in
though.
fact, it is
It's
impossible.
impossible to
Yeah,
perceive how it's going to go.
yeah,
Essentially,
exactly. Um, but it helps some people if you have like some people I know that helps. So I wouldn't say to anyone to not do that,
yeah.
to plan out things and envision how things are going to go beforehand. But for me, that's always psyched me out. So I actually like to go into things slightly uh, improv. I can't say the word improvisational. It's just a hard word to say. Improvising things,
Yeah,
rather like I prefer using that side of my mind than having something completely laid out.
and that's why
Because
you didn't script.
that's why I didn't script this.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I
I'm
would.
glad you didn't do that. Also,
Yeah,
like,
I had the option to. I was thinking like I could, but then number one, it would feel contrived, and I hate things feeling contrived. And number two, yeah, I'd psych myself out if I said something that I didn't want to say. No, if I said something that I wanted to say, if I didn't say something that I wanted to say on this, then I'd be like, oh God, I didn't say that, and it would just and I'd be beat myself up about it for no reason because no one knows what I'm going to say, so it doesn't matter. Wait, what happens now is what happens now, So. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's how that's helped me. It's just keep on doing it, being in front of people, and realizing there's more people like you than you think there are. Because you like, especially for me, I don't know about other people, but I always think like I've slightly outstep with people that I don't necessarily get on with a lot of people very well, kind of thing. So just being around people that are similar to you, that have the same kind of challenges, mental health challenges or whatever, anxiety, whatever um, challenges, kind of thing, and think in a similar way, uh, makes you realize that you're not as insane as you think you are, or at least if you are, then there's a lot more other people that are as well. So it's okay.
more people to
Uh,
join the club.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What,
Um,
was there ever a point during, because you've been streaming for a very long time, and
doesn't feel like it, but yes, it has. It's
yeah,
like when you look back, it's like been 5 years, huh? But
I
yeah.
because part of my research into creating questions for you, I went back and watched old videos of you
Oh God, no,
because
delete.
I wanted to see, because occasionally in chat people would mention like, oh, this happened before, and I'm like, I wasn't here for that, so I'm like,
Mm,
okay, let me go back and see if I can find that.
mm.
And your setup has changed a massive, like it changed like dramatically.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been a journey for sure. Uh, yeah, because I just decided to do Twitch on a whim. Uh, Luckily, very very luckily, actually, almost fated, because I decided to do it on a whim at the beginning of 2019, and we all know what happened at the end of 2019 and why that would be such a fortuitous thing to be already set up on Twitch when other people were kind of like needing to, as musicians, uh, uh, do be more on the internet, be more on streaming services and things like that. So I just decided it on a whim. I mean, I had a sense that it might be something that I could do, and it would kind of pass the time because I was recording with Plastic Sun at the time and things like that. It would pass the time where, um, I wasn't playing shows or I wasn't in the studio or something, or wasn't writing where I could still be doing something that could get more eyes on me, I guess, or just keep in practice, without having to, sit down and practice kind of thing. So yeah, I decided to do it on a whim at like the beginning of 2019, and that was just in my parents' house. I had a room that had some musical instruments in it and things like that, and it was just on my MacBook at the time, and yeah, just and just like, okay, I had some research, obviously trying to set things up and things like that. I was very surprised that at the time, this is how I guess naive I was that you needed OBS to stream. I thought you could just go on Twitch and just be like stream, and then you could stream. That was like what? You can't just go on Twitch and just kind of like press stream and then go on. Um, yeah, so I knew nothing about that at all. So it was discovering OBS and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, okay, this is quite a lot to learn. So I spent some time learning that, and then I just went live. I had no lighting at all. I had one of them things still. Oh, you can't see that, but there's a salt lamp there just behind me, and I had neighbors at the time as well that needed to get up really early, so there was some troubles there, and I had to play really softly, like with a electric guitar, and just like singing like very very softly into the microphone, and trying not to disturb them if possible, because I would have to also do it quite late because I was teaching music at the time, so I had to travel elsewhere to do because I taught music in a shop in a little shop um, down the south side of England, so I had to go there, and then when I came back, I was like, okay, I'll try this stream thing then, which quickly became impossible because obviously the person wanted to sleep. They get up at like 4 a.m. So it's fair enough. I wasn't doing it very loud. I was trying to be respectful. But yeah, you got occasional knocks through the wall. In fact, because they were like next door. So my dad plays guitar in a church. So uh, this is how much I wanted to do this, I guess, because it's quite a lot of effort. So my dad had this, yeah, he plays guitar in his church, so he had kind of access to that sort of area. So in order to solve the problem, I'd come back from my teaching, and then I'd grab all my gear, and then I'd go to this church here area, set up kind of thing, and then I'd do my kind of stream there. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to stream even because the building was being used. So but I really wanted to do it. I enjoyed it from my first few experiences. So we did that for a while, and then, as I say, the pandemic hit, and then I moved here with my girlfriend, somewhat out of necessity, but also somewhat inevitable is going to happen anyway. So I moved here with my girlfriend, and we slowly set up what used to be in the bedroom first of all, because this room wasn't actually free at the time, so it was in the bedroom. Uh, so I set up something there, streamed there for a couple of years, and then slowly did up this place here as well to try and you know have a place where I could be where I had some space, um, kind of thing like that. That didn't look like I was in as one of the chat people always said, that it looked like I was in like the Harry Potter kind of closet kind of thing.
Just
Yeah, yeah, really, yeah. So it didn't look like that as well. um, uh, so yeah, and here we are now. I've been in this room doing this more comfortably um, now for a couple of years as well. I think couple of years, maybe 3. I don't know. It's hard to know. Time goes, keeps going.
what was there ever a point? Okay, in like your entire progression
Mm.
on Twitch, was there ever a point where you were like, what am I doing? Like, because I
Uh,
think Twitch is it for me. Twitch is it's a very surreal place.
oh
In
yeah.
the
Mm.
it's a in the sense that you can come across like really nice communities and good nice streamers, but there's also a lot of not very nice people on Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
try to stay out of the drama.
yeah,
I don't involve myself in that at all. If there's any drama anywhere, I'm like, I'm gone. That's it. I'm bye. See you later, kind of thing. So I try to keep myself to myself. Although it probably would be better if I did kind of uh, hang out with other streamers more, kind of thing, like for my own um, success, let's say. But yeah, if drama starts, I'm out of there.
yeah.
I can't be dealing with that. It's a waste of time, in my mind. But as opposed as you say, is there ever a point where I think, what the hell am I doing? Once every stream, at least. It's trying to move through that is the skill. It's not preventing that feeling. That feeling's going to be there, whatever you do, because imposter syndrome is strong. It's a strong force inside your mind. Um, I mean, it's there to try and stop you wasting time, kind of thing. But but yeah, well, at least once every stream, I go through something. It's like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrible. This isn't going well. But then I have to keep remembering when I'm going through that this is like a long this is like a blip
Yeah.
in the stream. It's like, let's say it's 10 minutes in 4 hours. So it's like it's not, and the people that are here, obviously some of the people, the very loyal people, who are awesome, stay for the whole thing, but probably the vast majority of people be there for a bit and then they dip out and then they come back. So it's just a blip in the ocean and you move past it, kind of thing, and then I try and focus on moving past it instead of um, focus on what's happening in that sort of time. So yeah, at least once every stream that happens, and again, it's just moving past it. That's the trick, and well, it doesn't always. There's very, very, very small occasions where I can't move past it, and I have to just kind of end the stream. But that pisses me off, to be honest. So, which is a good thing. I feel that that's actually a good thing embedded in me, that it does like annoy me, because um, the only way I can stop that feeling is by doing it again and proving myself wrong, that I don't suck and that I can kind of do this. That's the only way I can feel better. So that keeps me doing it. So like that's a good thing. Although it causes a lot of hurt there, I can't really, like, a lot of people just say like, oh yeah, go rest, go kind of thing. I can't really do that. It bugs me. If I go rest, if I don't go up and do it again, then the way it bugs me just won't allow me to forget about it. So I have to go up and do it again as quickly as I can, and and try and do it the best I can. Or if or if I'm still doing bad, then actually uh move past it and just own being not on form. Um
What I was going to say is, I guess to reassure you, um, more so in the complimentary way, um, from talking more about like my last 6 months
mhm.
in your streams. It's just always a good time. Like
That's good.
I've told so many people about your streams. Like my friends, I've told family about you. I've told other people in other servers. I'm just like, it's just like, for me, it's just your streams are just like gold dust.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I can't.
Cheers.
I know I say it a lot, and I compliment you a lot, and you know, it's not.
Well,
It's sometimes hard to
it's nice
take
to hear.
compliments. But yeah,
It is hard to take compliments, but it's nice to hear. But it's only. I mean, it's good to hear compliments when they're genuine and it feels kind of like genuine from you, and it's not like just people complimenting you for the sake of it. When it's like a genuine thing, that's a connection there. So that feels good. It's not like something like it doesn't feel like you're just blowing smoke up my ass.
no, no, I'm not. This
Kinda
is not. I'm
say.
not. This is not scripted. This bit.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good that it has that sort of impact, and it's nice to hear that you are kind of doing the right thing. 'Cause, again, it's very easy to forget as a musician as well, but I try to remember as much as I can. Like, music is just an excuse, to be to hang out with the people, with the community, in the chat. It's just a very small part of the stream. It's like less like, obviously, Twitch is most popular for gaming and for IRL stuff and just chatting, kind of things like that. Which again, so it's just an excuse to it's just something that you can do, um, whilst also hanging out, with the community, and I feel much more comfortable, playing music, in front of people because I feel like I semi know what I'm doing despite imposter syndrome. I've experienced enough playing music to know that if anyone comes in and criticizes me, that I can be like, um, either I can be like, "Okay, that's a good idea," and just be like, and try it, or I can be like, "No, you're talking rubbish." Like, you you don't know what you're talking about. You're not, um, you're probably not a musician, at all. Like, so I have enough confidence to know what I like and what, my opinions are on music. So, trolls don't bother me as much there because I know what I want to do, kind of thing. But yeah, and as I say, it's an excuse to talk to people in the community, and it's an excuse to bring people together, which, to be honest, is the entire point of music, in general. So, it's just to bring people together around a certain, emotion that you are sending out, a vibe that you're sending out, lack of a better word, because it's not always emotion. It could be something else. It could be the lack of emotion. That could be, actually intriguing, um, or just an idea. Um, so yeah, I think that's the question you were answering. You were
Yeah,
asking.
no, it's fine. I'm enjoying listening to you.
Oh, thanks.
I was going to get more into kind of music production side of things,
Mm,
just because I think I love process, and this is why I kind of do these interviews with people because I am interested in process and how things
hmm
work because I don't always know. Um,
hmm
so I was just going to ask in terms of like when you're like I guess what's the typical production process of like creating a
Okay,
track or like how does the idea initially evolve and
sure. I mean, I would say I do have a typical process, a kind of one that kind of works for me. So that's, handy. I mean, the right. I try and think of things in stages of completion because otherwise it drives me kind of nuts. Um, like just thinking something's not kind of complete. Otherwise, just bothers me. But it is something you have to get used to, as a musician because nothing's ever complete. So, but I start with writing, and just writing the song. Very rarely do I write the lyrics, although sometimes lyrics will appear at the same time. Usually the chorus. I don't know why, but often I sing a chorus and it just has words. That's just the way it works. And I don't know why. And they often stick as well, which is handy because it kind of defines what the rest of the song is about, in a way. Sometimes they don't, but often, if anything comes lyric wise, it's going to be the chorus. Um, but I do that. I don't use. I try and, stay away from technology. Although I will jam sometimes on little things as the exception. But that's like not really songwriting. That's more musical exploration. I feel it's not like songwriting. I will come up with a small idea, on using the studio or something, and then develop that outside of the studio of the interface. Because the reason of this is because if you're doing stuff inside the interface, then, you can very easily go down the route of, does this like sound good as in like individual sounds and just search for individual sounds for absolutely ages and then never write a song, and just get distracted, by those sort of things, just EQing things for no reason when you're not even in that sort of, even in that sort of stage of the song writing progress. So I will usually have a guitar. If I am using technology because I don't have an actual physical keyboard, but I'd like to get one at some point, I'll just load something and I'd just use the keyboard and play it out speakers and sing along with it there. Anything that's very instant that I can just kind of play and and it reacts in real time to what I'm doing. Because in order to in order to write songs, I believe you have to not think about it too much, um, because otherwise nothing will happen. You just kind of have to have your brain and your body working uh, exactly at the same time. So you have to play the guitar and sing something that you're not thinking about. So you just sing and the melody appears, and by the end of it, you're like, I have no idea how that melody appeared, but it's quite good. And then you just kind of make noises and make syllables and little notes and melodies here and there until some sort of idea catches your imagination, and then that forms into a whole song uh, after that. But it's that's the songwriting process. It's very very primitive. It's very raw. It's very just picking up and playing something and making something up. Um, that's how I write the song. Um, as I say, the lyrics come after I think about them a little bit more. I mean, some of them will appear in that sort of process as well. Some sounds would just be like I'll listen back to the sounds. I tend to record it on voice memos on my phone or something if I record it. Sometimes I don't record it. I know that's a bit risky, but I also feel like if I don't remember something, then it probably wasn't that great of an idea anyway. The good ideas tend to stick around, or they tend to really, really, really want me to record them. So I will record, but they do tend to stick around. Uh, and a lot of ideas have stuck around. As I say, a lot of ideas are old. I'm constantly writing little bits and pieces of things without bringing it into completion until it feels right. So let's say something like uh, something like "Without the Fear" or something like that. That was released. I don't know, when was it released? 20, 2020, 21, something like that. 2021. Let's say that, maybe 22. But that idea is from like 2016. I came up with that guitar part then, and then only at a particular point in time was like I like, okay, I have a feeling for this riff now. I know what this riff is trying to tell me, and then the full song um, demands to be written at that point. Um, and then because I produce myself and everything like that, then you have to go through the stages of horror. Because that bit's fine. That writing the song is fun. I enjoy that part. It doesn't. It's painless. It's nice. You get one of those rare moments of satisfaction when you've written the song. Um, but then you have to go in and try and record it and try and get it down as good as you can in that particular moment in time, and that's where it becomes a bit of a hassle. But as I say, I try and think of it in stages of completion. So I try and get an arrangement. So I just try and mess about on 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 the interface without judging how things sound too much. Just kind of thinking as if I was jamming in a band, which is great with the Ableton, which is the interface I use because it kind of promotes that kind of thing. I do what I do on stream, but for an original song. So I kind of just uh, play a drum beat or something, and then start building things around that little ideas. Um, Too many ideas most of the time, and then kind of edit it afterwards and take things away, which is another thing. That's a tough skill to master. Although I'm kind of quite good at it, luckily, because I'm a little bit of a minimalist in that aspect. Where I'd rather be there too little things than too many things going on. So although occasionally you get very precious about an idea, and and it's happened to me before, but you have to try and be like, okay, that bit is really not working. There's a bass idea, for example, in someone's star, and I know Shouty really liked it and as well. But like when I was coming to mix it, it was just not serving the song afterwards. The bass idea, dunk, 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 like going on in there. Um, but something wasn't working, so I had to think, okay, I have to hear what it sounds like taken out, and then I took it out, and I was like, okay, it's better. Damn you! I liked that part, but I could use it for another song. So that's the thing. Nothing's really wasted if you're not using something in one song. Then you have that idea for another song, kind of thing. That's how I like to think of it anyway. Uh, there's whole sections I've removed from songs. To say 10 to 1 as well, where I had a bridge section. I don't know, maybe you'll be able to find it somewhere on the internet. But when it was coming to the arrangement idea that I was doing, it just felt at odds with what was going on. So I removed it and put something else in there entirely. So yeah, there's that section. So there's the arrangement kind of thing, and then there is. So I do the arrangement. That's all quantized. That's all like just making stuff up as I go along. The easiest way possible to get the idea down. And then when I've got the ideas down, I go and actually go into the recording stage. This is not dissimilar from being in a band. It's like kind of like you write the song, you go to the band, you rehearse the song with the band. But I'm doing it by myself, so I kind of use that stage as like rehearsal stage. And then once I have all the ideas, I go and I will um, use something as a guide track. Usually the demo that I did, usually the arrangement idea that I've done, and then I'll just take something out, and then I'll take the drums out, and then I will perform the drums in live on the keyboards. But I will play it kind of like live in all the way. So just so it allows for me to come up with. So it's not a loop, although sometimes loops are good, but not always. If it's not needed for the loop, then I will play them in live, and allows me to come up with little different ideas, fills, variations of things. So it's not the same all the way through, and it's not perfectly quantized. So I do a little bit of um, rhythmic adjustment as well, but I try not to perfectly quantize it. Still a bit of stuff that's a little bit out here and there, so it feels real. Um, yeah, then you just record all the instruments in. Um, I like to use a proper amp, for example, instead of going straight through the um, through the desk for guitars or something. Mic that up, just more organic sound, along with because there's obviously going to be a because you're doing it all by yourself. There's going to be a slight digitization of things because you haven't got a full band to do it. But I try and put as much organic elements along with the electronic as possible, so it still has a human feel. And then vocals, and then mix, and then master, basically. Which usually the vocals on all stages take the longest because it's the most varied instrument in terms of dynamics and expression that you have. So it takes a while, usually, much to much frustration to get those down, and then yeah, mix. I try and make everything sound good before I go to the mix, but still mixing and then mastering as well, which I could get someone to do, but um, I don't want to, like, number one, I don't want to spend the money. Number two, let's
He's
be,
like,
be real about it.
nah.
That's the main reason. Yeah, you look like I could get someone to do this, and then look at the money and like, I do it myself. The pain is worth it. Um,
Oh, what I was going to ask. Sorry, I was just going to ask you, like, in terms of doing. Okay, I wasn't asked. Do you feel like for yourself, there's any limitations from doing stuff from home compared to like doing stuff in a studio, or was it
yeah, of
is it
course.
is it the same?
Um, yeah, it's the limitations that I mentioned earlier, kind of thing. You can't really get a true live performance from it. You can get little live performances of things. You can get a live performance of the guitar. You can get a live performance of the bass. You can get a live performance of the vocals. Or that, though, for me, that often doesn't end up being the best thing for vocals. Uh, but yeah, you can get a live take of those individual, but you can't get it all together, kind of thing. You can't get that that interaction between different musicians where something's like hit a little early, but everyone like hits it early, so it sounds great, kind of thing like that. You can't do that as well. Um, um, by yourself. You can kind of fake it a little bit, but it never quite gets there for that. So that's the main limitation of that. Is just you can get some human feel, but you can't get as human feel as a live band. Although something I've noticed, and I'm pretty sure it's true. If you're doing things like live, let's say if you're doing a real live uh, drums or something like that, or all live together. The goal of that then is to make, like when you're mixing it, is to make it sound less live. But when you're doing everything kind of very methodically and like programming stuff, then the goal of that is to make it sound more live. So you're just trying to like whatever direction you take, you're kind of trying to end up in the middle there with that. Um, yeah. So, but limitations are good, as I say. Like 'cause you can't do something, so you have to do something else. Like let's say the early days of when I was doing things as well, I didn't have great drum samples. I always wanted to get them anyway, but I have better ones now, so I can use real drums. Um, what's the word? Convincingly is the word. Ish. Now, but then I didn't have any good samples, so I couldn't use real drums convincingly at all, and it would just sound bad. So I would think of different ways. So I'd use either electronic samples or for Without the Fear, I would use my acoustic guitar and I'd just bang on it, kind of thing like that, and make a drum kit out, or a rhythm part out of that. So limitations can be good like that because they make you think of things that you would not usually think of in order to overcome that limitation.
Look to the moon, the future seems bright. It's just a reflection of the sun's light. Sleep in a dream, awake in a paradise. It's hard to tell where you're at. Too much too soon. Such a burden hangs over you. Like a full moon, light up the night. Everybody wants to be someone's star tonight.
Yeah. Let's do questions from the audience. The audience, my esteemed audience. Now, if anyone's got any. If you don't, then whatever. Yeah, let's do it on the thing. Maybe you can use it. Maybe you don't want to. Then just edit it out. It's fine. Has anyone got a question? I suck at questions, so I have a blank brain. Oh, how was it to learn to use Ableton? It was okay once I got over the block of learning a new thing. Because for a while, I mean, number one, I didn't have time because I was kind of teaching and things like that. And then when I wasn't, I was gigging in a functions band or in the originals band. So I didn't have much time to sit and do it, but I had much more time, as did everyone. When the pandemic hits, I was like, okay, I'm going to learn this now. I'm still learning it. So it's one of those things where you kind of constantly find new things, mainly because they're adding new things. And also because you just discover easier ways of doing things. There's plenty of times where I've been doing something really, really, really like in a very, what's the word? Inefficient way. That's not the word I was looking for, but in a very inefficient way. Um, where I found out, I was like, oh, I can just do that with a click of a button. God damn it. But it was all right once I got over the block of it. And it's always good to learn something when you have a goal of using it. Like I wanted to just actually learn how to record my own music. So that helps me down a path of learning. I try to learn things as a problem appears, kind of thing. So it's not as painful then as, like, let's say if something I want to do, then I will learn it. Otherwise, I'll just go not knowing it. It's kind of how that works, or doing something I'm used to. Again, it's just trying to keep things very instant and not having to stop and look up things whilst you're kind of working on something creative, because there's nothing worse. Anyway, that's that question. How do you? Let's see. Dusks, one Leo's. What made you go? I want to go for it when it comes to solo music. The fact that bands were impossible was the main reason, and I couldn't do anything during pandemic. So bands were literally impossible during that point in time. So I was like, I really don't want to be sitting here for however long this lasts and not be creating any music, because that's going to suck and it's going to annoy me. So that's what happened. I'll read stuff. So I was just trying to do other people's that weren't my girlfriend. How you feel about the community you have developed on Twitch? Compliments us, please. Oh, you're amazing. I couldn't do any of this without you, and you keep me going for sure. Yeah, you're the best. Yeah, having that interaction is awesome, and having genuine friendships to people who are like what you're doing. You can't wish for anything more, to be honest. Any plans I would like to do live gigs at some point. It's something I'm thinking about, but it's also tough to get the time to think about to implement it as well. Because if I did live gigs, I would want a live band to go with. I really don't think I want to be going out and playing the songs that I've done like acoustically, although some of them work. A lot of them I feel like demand a live band, and I'd like to get that together and rehearse and then um, look at gigs. But yeah, I will do it at some point. I was learning a song by Rush. No. Do you have a mentor in your music career? If you don't, what would you want out of one? A mentor. That's interesting. Not anyone particular, but any musician I've met is somewhat a mentor. Any musician that I've played with, or anything, is somewhat of a mentor. Any musician I've watched, any musician that I have listened to, is somewhat of a mentor, but no one in particular, kind of thing. Uh, the closest thing maybe that guitar teacher I had, but I didn't have them for very long. I like to learn things by myself when I can, because I kind of just I freeze up when I'm trying to learn things in front of people. It's just terrible, and everything goes wrong, and I look stupid, and I feel stupid. I don't think I am stupid, but I feel like it. Like I think I can learn it, but when I'm in front of people trying to learn something, it's just no good. Uh, but yeah, anyone that I've played with, I've learned something from. Um, like guitar player, I learned a chord shape, or recording in the studio that I did with Plastic Sound Band. I learned lots of different techniques that they were using, not by doing it, but just watching what they were doing. I like to watch people, and then I learn that way. In fact, that's kind of how I thought I could play the guitar. I saw like I think it was AC/DC actually, or it was something on the telly, and they were playing like these open chords, and I was like, okay, I get what they're doing. And then I went to guitar lessons, and I picked it up quickly just because I watched them do what they're doing. If I see someone in action doing something, then it makes sense to me how it works. Before that, it doesn't make any sense to me how it works. So Ableton using it in a live setting made no sense until I had the collaboration with Autopilot, and he very kindly let me use his gear as well and have a little go of it. But I saw what he was doing, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I can see how they're using it and how they're doing this sort of thing in order to understand how I could do it. Also, before that, I'm useless. That's just the way. Yeah, visual learning brain. I mean, I could have just said that, but learn drums from Lars. I mean, why not? He's got a feel. He's got a feel going on. What was the question? My brother has one. What are some of the biggest realizations you've made that have stuck with you and have helped you improve as a songwriter slash musician? Realization, that's an interesting one. I guess the biggest one is that it's a journey. It doesn't like you don't have to have like every song you write doesn't have to be your best thing that you've ever done, kind of thing. I mean, I'm lucky in the sense that the artists I like, they have a very clear trajectory path when you're listening to stuff, or they're very very messy in their output, where it's like um mm, where it's like either either most of it is not very good, and you just get the occasional moments of like absolute genius where you're just like searching for something, um, rather than trying to get the complete thing. You're just searching for something, and other things get created along the way. I think that's the main thing, I guess. Anything else from the audience? Who influences you most in your music, and when it comes to production, how does that influence what you make as an artist? It's tough on that one. Because when you're writing stuff, you're not super aware of it, and if you are, then you're probably being derivative. And there's a few of them that I've written that I haven't used, kind of thing. Sometimes you can just use them as an exercise, kind of thing. Influences me most in my music. That's a tough one. Um, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously Radiohead got me started with the bends on writing things. That's the first one I listened to, and U2 with Joshua Tree as well. Um, anyone I've been listening to at the time probably is what it is. I also do steal a lot from minimalist music, like a lot. I've noticed it when I've listened things back, like listening to things like 10 to 1 or Someone's Star. There's always some sort of thing where you've got like some background thing like you would in like Steve Reich or Terry Riley, or where it's like a very repetitive pattern that's going through everything. Uh, I think there's one of them in every song. So I actually have used a lot from that. How is the process of live learns on your streams, how do you figure the songs out? That's just experience. I mean, I use the chord sheet. I could do it without, but I don't want to. I don't want to take up unnecessary time doing it. They're already quite long to learn as it is, so I'd rather focus on the little details of things rather than trying to learn the full chords. Also, it helps me if I'm going to play it again. Is the main thing because I won't remember all that many songs. But you hear patterns. Or music is patterns. So the hardest live learns are when they diverge from those patterns, where they're not using the patterns that I'm used to, like that Cure song. Claire did the other day, where it's like, okay, there's nothing that I know here at all musically. So it's not like necessarily tough to play. It's just tough to work out because it's like this is not doing anything by the book for this one. So it's like I can't rest on my laurels to work it out. I can't rest on the patterns that I know are used frequently in music. But yeah, it's just patterns. You notice these things after a while. That's all right. It was fun. It was a brain workout because I didn't. None of it was to any particular musical theory, I guess. To something, of course. Everything has a theory. There's so much. I always say there's so much theory that there's basically no theory. But yeah, you struggle with live learns yourself. Do more of them. that's all there is. Yeah, you just try and learn more songs. Without, I would say, without using chords if you can. I do it with chords. I know I can do it without using chords. But I do it with chords on the stream. But I've done things plenty of time because if you play with other people, also play with other people. That's also one of the biggest things as well. If you can, it's hard now, but if you can play along with other people, or just play along with other people that are streaming live, or a video that you know, and just play along with them, and try and work out what they're playing, without using chords if you can. And then you'll learn how to hear these things. Listen to the bass as well. If you listen to the bass the most, that tells you at least, if you work out the bass first, that tells you at least the letters of the chords. Then you need to work out the tonality, and then you only have a few options, usually two, usually major or minor, and it'd be very obvious to tell when you're wrong. But sometimes you have more than that. But usually, in a lot of pop music, is two options. But you have a lot less options then. Listen to the bass. That's the good piece of advice, actually. You don't have to. Do you know guitar? Do you know piano? Do you know any instrument, or just sing the bass? You can work it out on there just by singing. Yeah, you play it on guitar. Play the bass on guitar. Play the notes, the lowest notes that you can hear. Play them on guitar, and that's the first step. Which equipment do I wish I had? Everything. Give me it all. No, first of all, I need a new interface. I'll probably get that one in the new year because I need more inputs and more. Yeah, I mean, more guitars would be nice as well. A physical piano would be nice just to write things on. More microphones because then you have more tonal options for things. I have 2 tonal options. No, I have 3 tonal options at the moment. I have just a handheld mic, and I have a condenser mic, a cheap one. So yeah, I would like a Hofner violin bass as well because I like the sound of them. But all of them, give me it all. iPhone mic. I mean, maybe a lot of samples on that first Billie Eilish record were sampled on the iPhone mic. It has a sound. Do let me know when you want to continue.
I've been building up questions in my head following everyone else's questions.
Maybe 1 or 2 more questions, or that?
Yeah, we can have a few more, and then
2 more questions if anyone's got any. If not, then we'll move on, I guess. Get this drum kit. No, I don't want that. If I had a drum kit, I'd have like 2 toms max, like hi-hat, snare, 2 toms, kick drum, ride, crash. That's it. That's all I'd want. I don't like actually overcomplicated drums at all. I like a very small tonal palette for drums. If you're Rush, then there's a lot of point because you go, you could just keep filling forever. But I don't want to make that sort of music. You can't do any of the fills in Tom Sawyer without going, you know. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he full on does. He does everything. He uses everything. It's crazy. I get the feeling there's probably no more questions. So, if to take a bus ride. Yeah. Oh, okay. Leo has one. Everyone's brain is still blank. You have one? Do you have one? Or are you just thinking of one? You potentially have one. Is that what that is? You having performance. It's hard to think of questions. It's the worst thing I can think of. Whenever you're going on a trip somewhere, or you like you know, you're going to a viewing of something, and they say, "Any questions?" That's a sure bet that I'm never gonna have any questions. Before that, I had loads of questions. How rewarding is teaching? Very rewarding, to be honest. It depends how much the student puts into it. If they don't put anything into it, then it kind of sucks. But all the students I have do put a lot into it, so it's great to see them. It's great to see them progressing, and yeah, I always say the most impactful thing that you can do as a human is to convince someone to do something that they wouldn't have done before. I think that is kind of the most impactful thing you can do in the world. So teaching is kind of that. It's kind of encouraging someone to do something that they may not have done before, and that has a ripple effect. I feel like if someone does that, then they're doing something that may have an impact on someone else's life. So your impact on other people's life just goes like, you know, keeps growing because you know you're encouraging other people to do things. I think that's more impactful than, you know, let's say me. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. Me achieving a Grammy. Let's say that, which is kind of just like meaningless self-congratulatory stuff, which I've never been much interested in, or a Brit Award, even less so. Okay.
What I was going to ask you was, what's a track or piece that you created that you feel best represents your journey as a musician so far?
I had an answer for this. Now I forgot it. No. I think it's Someone's Star because that includes everything. At the moment, that feels like the center point at the moment. I think that includes everything. It's got the droning arpeggios over, and it's like got the choruses like that, similar to what is up in the range of Sunflower Seeds or something like that. It's got some sort of dreamy aspect to it, even though it's quite it's got a hypnotic feel to it, which I like in music in general. You get lost in the music. You hear new things, layers, kind of things like that. It's got the rock element to it. It's got the synth element to it as well. And yeah, I think it's that one.
I would like to move on to your most recent single,
Cool.
song,
Yep.
"Cut Me Loose."
Mm-hmm.
I would like to understand more about that process and. So what inspired "Cut Me Loose," and was there a particular story moment or feeling that sparked the creation of this track?
Yeah, it's funny saying that's my latest track because it's so old now. Because as I say, as I put out there already, that was a pandemic song, basically that I'd not quite got round to being capable of producing. I think until now. I don't think last year I was capable of doing it or anything. So I've only been capable where I feel my skills are good enough, where I could do something with that. So yeah, it was a song that I wrote on the piano at my work at my teaching place at the time because they were all talking about um, lockdown and things like that, and how we probably wouldn't be able to go. Well, I probably wouldn't be able to work for them or whatever. There was a way of working for them, but at home in the end. But it was a bit worrying. So there's a piano there. Of course, it's a music shop. There's loads of pianos. I picked one, and I don't remember. Probably the one in my room. And I just started playing those three chords, kind of thing. I hasten to say that probably the lyrics were just as they are now, as it happened. I would have to check, but I do have something on my voice memos there, where I recorded me playing that. But it was just it was one verse, a bridge, and a chorus, and I didn't really feel any need to write another verse because it felt like a mantra. It felt like a calming thing that you would say to yourself. So, first verse and second verse are the same, and also the bridge, and it's just a repetitive thing. So that's the story of writing it. Anyway, if you have questions on it.
Yeah, I was going to ask more about how did the collaboration with Ava Winter come? Like, how did that form?
In a few different ways. It was in the back of my mind for a while, longer than you would have known, because Amelia's here in the chat. Avo Winter. It's been in the back of my mind in a while, but I didn't want to ask until I was certain that I thought it'd be right. And also until I was certain that Avo's confidence was good enough in order to do it as well, because I thought it was the right time. So I heard her singing. She covered. It meant a great deal to her, that song, anytime I played it on stream. So and I heard her cover it via TikTok and small shorts and things like that. She covered it, tagged me in it, and I thought, oh, you sound better than I do singing it. So, and to be honest, I'm a bit frustrated with my vocal on it because it never sounded like it should. Like it never sounded like the perspective of it should be male when singing up in there in the "Somebody's through the-" up there kind of thing. So I really liked the way Avo sang it, and I asked her to sing on it. She had a very rudimentary setup. I was like, "Hey, it doesn't matter. The performance is what matters," kind of thing. So it was recorded on like a USB Blue Yeti microphone. I'm right in that, right? Blue Yeti, and uh, yeah, with just like a bunch of you had a picture of it, a bunch of like cushions and things surrounding it. There was sent me to it. There's a bit of high frequency hum. Managed to get rid of that, so it's okay. And yeah, did amazingly well. Without, I mean, I gave a little bit of guidance, but without in-person guidance. First time recording something, really? I mean, like for an actual song. First time double tracking. No, I gave you some guidance, but most people would need, like if it's their first time, would need one-to-one in the room guidance to do what you did. But yeah, got it back. I asked her if she could try and double track it, which basically means you sing the vocal take and then you sing another track, try and do it as best you can over the top, and it makes it sound bigger and fuller. So I asked her to do that. Uh, not expecting that she would be able to be honest, because it's kind of a hard thing to just straight away do. It takes some practice usually, but nailed it like first time. In fact, I got the message back saying, "Oh my god, this took me so long," and I was like, "How long did it take?" About an hour. I was, that is not long. What do you mean? That is like so quick. That's like crazy quick. I was like, for me, I need to book a whole day off to do vocals, you know. So yeah, um, yeah. So that was it, and I had to from that take. She sang things a little different from me, actually better than I did, with some of the runs and the licks, the melody patterns. So I sang to her after that point and gave her the space. It was going to be actually more me singing on it than it ended up. It ended up actually being mostly Avo Windsor singing on it because I liked the performance she did so much. So I was like, I don't want to get in the way of this performance, just to enforce myself, my voice onto the song. So I tried to give as much space as possible there to Avo's vocal performance. So as you hear on the track, I only come in like for one line, like two lines by myself, and when I'm singing with her, it's like quite sparse. It's just like every other line here and there. That ended up working the best. Um, yeah, which is one of those things where you have to think of. It's a harder thing. You have to
Yeah.
fight your ego, kind of thing, and be, and do what's best for the song, um, by taking away, in this case, taking away most of my vocal parts in order to have Avo sing on it most
Yeah.
of the time. But it's best for the song. It works out great.
I wanted to ask about Patreon
Mhm.
because I do have some questions surrounding that. But also,
Sure.
what I wanted to ask in relation to what you just said, on Patreon, is there like, I guess there is like more like different versions of Cut Me Loose where like there's more of your vocals.
No, not at the moment. I mean, there will be of future songs. I'm very bad at going back to older songs and like looking at them retrospectively. So I hadn't started the Patreon at that point, but there is actually in the Discord for Twitch subs. There's actually a few in the work in progress area there. I mean, I could upload them to Patreon as well, to be honest. But I haven't because it just didn't occur to me because I'm very bad at looking back at things that I've already done. So in my mind, that didn't occur to me because I'm not working on it at the moment. Where I have put stuff for the new song that I'm working on, that's going up there as I work on it at the moment. So you're getting a kind of a um, live progress of what I'm doing to an extent. There's some stuff where I won't share it because I'm not comfortable yet sharing it, but where I do feel comfortable, I put it up there, kind of thing. But also, I have all of the full recordings of everything up there that you can get access to as a download, and I have all of I've like growing a number of covers, the covers that I do on stream of songs in different styles, um, like in the style of The Cure or whatever. They're up there. There's like 51 or more uh, there at the moment of the covers. Um, yeah, I'm thinking about doing because Leo had a good idea of um of doing covers of people's songs that are actually Patreon members. That'd be fun to do. So if they had a song, I could do my own version of it, so they could hear me playing it and upload it there, or like a live a feedback sort of thing or reaction thing to people's vocal performances or things like that. Just bits of advice here and there, or lyrics would be cool. Yeah, like you could give me lyrics, and I could write a song using those lyrics and put it on the Patreon. That'd be a wicked idea as well. Shouty just came up with that idea for those people who don't know. Yeah, it's a good idea. Good idea. So things like that could definitely do. Yeah, but right now it's up there. I thought I'd put it somewhere to put all my covers and original stuff because the covers aren't anywhere, and people like them on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and on Twitch, of course, as well. Um, so I thought I'd put it up there, and also for me to connect closer. So the people who sign up to the VIP membership, they're going to get sent stuff in the mail. Like, first of all, I've sent paper wings that were in the video for my song Wings, made by Asute. They were using the video, so I'm sending them to the people who are the VIP members with a little handwritten note and also a personalized plectrum of mine. So that's the first thing they're getting. But I'm trying to aim to do something for every 3 months or so that they're subscribed. So maybe like a signed photograph, or I would like to get physical copies of the Beyond the Glass EP made, so that you can get them. They can have them as well. Just things like that, basically. So yeah, that's a Patreon.
I do want to say like creating a Patreon is huge for like a content creator. I think it's a great way of like branching out and kind of putting all your content that you, especially if you're making stuff, in one place.
Definitely.
And I now that like because I remember that before Patreon was released, it was very busy. There was loads of like very busy time, and it's kind of near the time where I asked you to be interviewed.
Okay, yeah.
But now that it's like out there, like in terms of management, like are you happy with how things are going?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's been more people that signed up than I thought would. So thank you very much, anyone who is there that has signed up to it. It's really funny though, because I tell you, I put it out literally at like 1 a.m. in the morning, and someone signed up like immediately. I was like, "What the hell? How did you?" I thought it was a scam, like first of all, but someone literally did sign up from Instagram like immediately, and I was like, "Have they just been waiting for this day?"
They're just there, like
Or something.
they're just refreshing page, like.
I literally got an email straight away. I was like, "What the hell? Where?" I was like, to my girlfriend, I was like, "Seth, come in." I think I'm getting scammed. But no, someone genuinely did sign up. Like first first hour, less than an hour, just signed up to it. I don't know where they found out about it. But yeah, that was cool. So that was a nice thing. And now it's up there. It's quite easy to manage now. Now that it's a live service, I just didn't want to put something out there without anything to offer people.
Yeah.
But I know I could have, and that would have been fine. But I don't like doing that. I like to. If someone's going to sign up to something, I like for people to have something there, like immediately. So I spent some time getting all the covers I did as audio files, which took some time, going through my mess of an archive because I'm terrible at organizing stuff. So it's just completely yeah, I had to try and find the stuff. There's probably some missing still, but that's cool. I can upload it there. But I just wanted to have all the staples, that the popular ones that have been on Instagram or whatever, and put them up there for people to have as well. So that took some time to do, and also just thinking about how to word things. Always tricky. A surf does most of that. My girlfriend does most of that for me, or at least checks it over because she's the writer. So I'm I'm very lazy on that aspect. So I'll be like, sign up, get this, do it.
Bosh.
Bosh, yeah. That would be what I'd write.
In terms of, because you're on multiple mediums of social media.
Yeah.
Um, so I was in asked because I do you know what's crazy? I hadn't until like a few weeks ago. I wasn't following you on Instagram.
Oh no,
I
that's
didn't
okay though.
know. I
It's
honestly
fine.
didn't know. And so I've started following you on there.
Hmm.
But what I want to ask is, like, in terms of engagement,
Yeah.
where would you say you get the most engagement in terms of?
Yeah, different forms of engagement I've noticed. So Twitch, of course, has the most one-to-one meaningful engagement. Is probably what I'd call it, close connection, kind of thing, where they like you're on there, you build a relationship with them, kind of thing. Whereas I view the stuff where you put short form content, like Instagram, TikTok, now YouTube as well, as more of awareness, kind of stuff. Like it gets viewed by a lot of people, especially for me on Instagram. I get quite a lot of views on Instagram. Most views on Instagram probably overall. With some of my stuff getting like over 1 million views over there, but the amount of those people that become super fans, to use the Spotify term or something, then are going to be not as big. But you get your kind of brand. I hate that word. Get your face out there. Let's say that you get your music out there. I hate thinking of myself as a brand. It feels so. So you get you get your music or yeah your face seen by more people. Did Julian Lennon drop a follow? He didn't drop a follow, but he liked one of the he liked the Sultans of Swing punk version. But he didn't drop a follow. He didn't go that far yet. I'll get it one day. Yeah, so yeah, you get seen by a hell lot more, a hell of a lot of people, not more or less, hell of a lot of people on Instagram and TikTok and things like that. But yeah, then you want to try and get them to join the full community, which is kind of the reason why one of the reasons why I wanted to make the Patreon page as well, to get some of them on board as well. But yeah, it's different sorts of engagement. Really, Twitch has the most meaningful one-to-one, and then the other places build awareness of what you're doing. They wouldn't know me otherwise. Um, it's hard to tell where people are from, like when you're doing this sort of thing, unless you do like a full survey kind of thing. Because I'm sure there's some people, maybe even recently, I don't know, who found me on Instagram and then joined the Twitch stream, but it's hard to it gets a point where it's hard to know if that's where they're from, or they're from a raid or something, or they saw something on YouTube, or even they discovered me on Spotify first of all, which is a bit surreal if they did. Um, but hard to tell, to be honest. But you just do all the things that you can do. Is what I say. If you can do it, you might as well do it. There's no point not. Anything else there?
Well, I agree with you. Like, I think you might as well try. Like,
Mm.
do everything that you possibly can do, that you want to do,
Exactly.
and see what happens. Because like,
Yeah.
otherwise you'll regret not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no point not doing it. And the social media sites nowadays are very much how people discover things. Less you get less things discovered on TV and radio now, and get more things discovered on social media, on the internet, and things like that. So and you get full control of it as well. You don't have to ask someone, which is the best thing. I think best thing about how things are now is that you don't have to ask someone. Can I please have success, sir? Or something, you don't have to ask someone to do something for you in order to get your music out there. You can do it yourself. It's hard, it's difficult, but so is getting someone to try and try and sell your music as well. That's also difficult and very expensive, often the times, and very dodgy. A lot of the times where they try and steal the most amount of stuff that they can from you. Um, uh, so yeah, it's a form of self empowerment as an artist. Really, it's just kind of sticking yourself out there on the social media because it's the platform people discover things on that you can just do yourself. You have the power to do it. So yeah,
I've got three more questions for you.
sure.
The next one's quite hard, but
Okay.
I'm
I
here
prefer
to
the
do
last
that.
one, which was which you said was interesting but not difficult, which is like that's the best question.
Wait, I guess this is more of like people. This is a question people will throw around, but like
Sure.
I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. Where would you like to see yourself?
Oh, that one, that doozy.
Yeah, I don't know, like what's your? Do you have like a vision or like a goal in mind of what you would like to achieve?
I'd like to write an album at some point, but it's very difficult, especially if you're running the whole show yourself and you don't have other people to help you. It takes some time to find the time to actually record the original music is quite difficult. It's kind of the main challenge is the time because I have to put a lot of effort into. Whereas if someone had people working for them or something like that, obviously you don't get as much freedom, so that's a bad thing. But they have someone doing all the social media stuff for them, doing the promotion and things like that for them. You have a set amount of time to go on tour, and then you're back, and then you're into the creative writing process. For me, I have to do everything all at the same. There's no like this period, and this period kind of thing. There's no like tour period, promotion period, and writing and recording period. Kind of, you can't focus on one thing uh, uh, at once. I have to be like everything. Like I have to be like Tuesday is promo, Wednesday is trying to hash together as much of pieces of song I can if I don't have other things uh, to do. Just before the streams is practicing the songs and stuff like that. So everything has to be, and then putting stuff on Patreon and things like that. Everything has to be thought of all at once. So trying to find the time for that is tricky. But I'm releasing songs as I go. How many songs have I released now? About 10 or more, maybe. So there's a few. Whether I will get an album out, I don't know. I'm just happy to be releasing singles, whatever. It's the smart thing to do anyway. The album thing is kind of just it's an ego thing. It's like an ego project. You really would love to have an album of songs that people can listen to that way, but it's not lucrative really as an independent artist to do so. So the only I forget the word all of a sudden, but the only reason to do it is passion to do it kind of thing because all the algorithms favor doing singles. You do a single and then it gets pushed out to different playlists, algorithmic playlists or whatever. You can focus on that one song. It gets a bunch of plays from that thing. If you put an album out, you can only do one. If you put all the songs out at the same time that you've worked on, you only get one song that you can that you can push to the to the algorithmic playlists and the editorials and things like that. You only get one song that you can do. So what ends up happening is you get like one song with all the players, and then nothing else ever gets listened to, which is a bit disheartening and the reason you want your music to get heard as a as an artist, so you try and play that game of putting the singles out. I mean, what I did with the EP was I put the singles out, and then because you can do this, and then I put it out all as an EP after that. So I put out all the songs individually, and then I put it all out as an EP. If people did want to listen to it as a full thing, they can. They've heard the songs before, but you can listen to it in a different context, and they all have all have algorithmic traction, so they all have
Yeah.
a decent amount of plays instead of only one song getting all the spotlight. So yeah, I'd like to do an album. That was your question. I mean, I'm happy to just keep doing what I'm doing really, and just progressing that way. It's the kind of thing with music. Is kind of a way of life thing. So I don't really think in manners of where would I like to be in 5 years or whatever. I more think of just more. I more think very like much more shorter term. So it's like, what's the next thing I can do, and then after I've done that, I put the concentration into that. What's the next thing I can do after that, and then behold, 5 years have gone, and you can look back on it. I don't like to, but other people can if they wish. Sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll see a video from like early days. Sometimes I'll listen to a song from earlier on. Future Tripping, the first single that I did. Sometimes I listen to that, and I think it's still good, but I've come a long way from that now. But it's nice to hear, and it still feels okay. But like some of the early Twitch stuff, for example, I look at that and cringe. But I like to keep it up so people can see. I could delete that stuff, but I like to keep stuff up from if it's around. Um, then I'd like to keep it up so people can, if they want to do what I do, and do the Twitch stuff, they can see where I started from and then where I ended up, because I think that's very important for people wanting to do things, because you can see me now with the Sony camera and like 3 monitors and the keyboards and all this stuff, and it's just like I could never be able to do that kind of thing. But if you see me earlier, just acoustic guitar and MacBook kind of thing, no lighting whatsoever. um, Playing there and then gradually building up things as you go along, then it feels a lot more like I can do this kind of thing. So I think that's important for people if they do happen to stumble upon me and want to do what I do. Um, but yeah, a few years time, just keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully, improving incrementally. There does get a point where like you improve, but it's very very small improvements after that. So um um but hopefully improve incrementally what I'm doing and putting more stuff out there. I'd like to do an album. That would be great, but if I don't get the chance, it's kind of a luxury. As long as I can keep putting out individual original music, that's awesome. Because yeah, I mean, being able to do music for a living in any aspect whatsoever is a bit of a it's a bit of a luxury. It's a bit of a thing you can't take for granted. You have to work very hard to do it, which is even less reason to take it for granted. Because if you do, then you won't put the work in required um, to do it. But yeah, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing now. Maybe I should have said the real goal is to be on your podcast again for in in the next 5 years, and both showing our uh, absolute success and Lamborghinis.
Yeah. Bugatti.
Yeah.
I guess my final question before my final question is just like, in terms of what you've shared today and through a conversation, what's like what's some advice you would give to like someone who's listening, who's kind of going through they're at the beginning process of their journey, or they're a creative wanting to like put their work out there or express themselves? Like, how would you?
Okay. So I think the most important thing is that it is truly a process. It's truly a journey. So don't don't just do it and put it out there to the best of your ability, as long as it's to the best of the ability that you are now, kind of thing. Just do your best that you can. Not I don't remember who said it, but someone said, "Do the best you can." Don't, that doesn't always have to be like your best, if you know what I mean. Like that's a very different thing. You can't turn up every day and be your best because it's just impossible. But you can always do the best you can. So um, yeah, just do that and yeah, learn to appreciate the journey over the individual destinations because they're just small stops, and you just the thing that I love about any artist or any career trajectory. There we go. Any career trajectory. I can't say that word. It seems. I know the word. I just can't say it. My mouth does not want to say it. Is being able to see the whole journey. Like let's say David Bowie concerts playing in like when he was playing like in the 90s. Those are like my favorite Bowie concerts because you can like that's who Bowie is. like any in other periods, for example, let's say he's in the Ziggy Stardust era or something. It's like, okay, that's a little bit of what Bowie is, but it's not the full thing, is it? And then it's like maybe he's in the Thin White Duke, and that's a little bit of what he is, kind of thing. But you don't see the full picture until about like the 90s when he's performing like all of his stuff in full, and then you see, and then you can see who he is fully as a person, because we're all multitudes of people. That's the thing. I think that's a very weird thing that audiences do, for one, but it's mainly marketing people as made audiences think this is that you go to a artist and you expect something, just like, oh, that's not what I expected of them. I'd never really listen to someone and think that's not what I expected of them, because like people are all sorts of things on there. They could be happy, they could be sad, they can be angry, they can be hyper, they can be low. So why would that not be reflected in music? So just do whatever you feel. I think don't try and be held hostage by perception. It is a big issue. I think people like to try and define themselves before they know themselves, which is the thing, and you can only know yourselves by doing what you're doing. Anything that you do is you, because why wouldn't it be? Like it's that simple. It's like why try and think too much about what your identity is? Why not just go out and be your identity? That's who you are. Is who you are. There's nothing more to it. You don't have to think about it. So if you just write whatever you feel, and then just the important thing to go out and do it, or stay in and do it, as, as I do. To be, but just do the thing that you're thinking of. You don't have to plan as much as you. There is some aspect of planning, but as long as you're making steps towards doing what you're doing, then that you want to do, then that's good. You're on the path. You're on the journey, and people will naturally come along with you, as long as you're putting yourself out there. If you're not, then no one will, because of course no one knows who you are. You're not out there. You're not putting anything out there. How can anyone join along with the ride if you're not out there in general? So yeah, that's it really, I think.
I think that's
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I think
Cool. Nice.
yeah. I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for like being able to spend this time with you today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me on. It's fun.
I was going to ask, like, usually at the end of episodes, I always say like, where can people find you?
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
you can just like promote everything.
Sure. Well, I am on the places that I've mentioned. I feel like this whole thing has been a big promo, to be honest. So yeah, all the places. Just rewind and you'll find
Yeah.
them.
And links will be included in
Yeah.
and stuff. And yeah.
I'm on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Patreon now, YouTube, as well, Spotify, Bandcamp, all the places. There's too many streaming platforms to mention, but Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, those places you can find all my original music. If you want to catch me live, doing performances, covers, and originals, and live loops and things like that, you can find me on Twitch. If you want to see some of my highlights, you can go onto YouTube and find me there as well. I might look into multi-streaming at some point. That's not yet though. If you would like to join the community closer and some personalized trinkets from me, some exclusive content, you can find me on Patreon. And I think that's it for now. Oh, you can join our Discord here if you'd like to watch wonderful podcasts in real time as they're
Come hang
being
out.
made. You can join the Discord as well, which there'll be a link in my whatever bios. The link trees are everywhere. I exist, so you'll be able to find the Discord link there. If you
He's on the web. You know.
I'm on the web. Yeah. Just Google it, bro.
But yeah, that wraps up today, and I appreciate everyone who's been in the audience, watching, listening, asked questions during the questioning section. And yeah, I just thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for your time and like being.
Thank you very much for having me on.
This.
It's been great fun, great privilege. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with the podcast. I hope it all goes well. And if you want to do this again some other time, you can. Maybe not straight away because I will just talk about the same stuff again. So what's changed? Nothing really.